Hello everyone and welcome to this new video. After the end of the School Rumble manga, Gene Kobayashi made a spin-off between 2008 and 2009, titled School Rumble Z. This unique volume is a collection of 10 chapters set in a sort of parallel universe, and the reader decides whether to consider them canonical or not. In this video I will explain all the chapters, so let's get started. The first 3 chapters are not related to the main story. The first chapter is set in medieval Japan, where Haruma is a policeman, and one night 3 thieves, who appear to be Akira, Tenma, and Yakumo, steal a money box from the treasury and manage to escape. 2 of the guards who had fallen asleep appear to be Suga and Aso. The next day, Hanai scolds Haruma for letting them escape, and Haruma, desperate, goes to a tea shop. There he finds Tenma and Yakumo working. Tenma's incredible stupidity makes it clear to Haruma that they are the thieves, even opening the money box in front of him, but Haruma, with difficulty, pretends not to notice because he is in love with her. Then Makoto arrives, and informs the Tsukamoto sisters that the Sawachika family is loaning out money to poor people at high interest, and so to pay off their debts they are forced to work hard and sell their daughters. Haruma overhears everything and goes to the Sawachika family, where he finds Eri. At the same time, the thieves arrive. Tenma tries to grab Sawachika's neck with a rope, but Haruma lets himself be captured instead, otherwise they would have been discovered for this stupid plan. Haruma discovers the location of Sawachika's money box, pretends to fall, and throws it to the thieves, allowing them to escape. The chapter ends with Hanai arriving at the crime scene and Haruma being beaten by Eri and declared a thief. Tenma, as always, hasn't understood anything, and Karasuma is also shown at the end. The second chapter is set in the Middle Ages, in Europe, and Haruma is a sort of knight who personifies Van Helsing. After returning home from a battle, he starts talking to a photo of Tenma. Hanai and Yashidayama burst into his house and warn him that the girls had gone to 2C Castle and have not yet returned. It is the Goblin's Den, and Haruma, concerned only for Tenma, goes there. Haruma bravely enters the castle room, where he finds a demon party among the girls and some very familiar demons. Haruma ruins the fun, but Tenma invites him to play. He accepts because he has the chance to get a kiss from Tenma. So now the players are Haruma, Tenma, Miki, Madoka, Makoto, Akira, Nishimoto, Suga, Imadori, and Yumizu. Haruma is bored because his number is never drawn and gets angry with Yumizu. They start a new round, and this time the Demon King, the one who chooses the numbers and dictates what to do, is Haruma. Haruma literally vomits his soul to see Tenma's number, and says that the Demon King in number 6, Tenma, must kiss. Number 6 is actually Nishimoto, and Tenma is number 9, but her ticket was upside down. Haruma is forced to kiss Nishimoto, but to save himself he says that he came to the castle to kill the demons, so he defeats all 4. Thus Haruma became the hero of the Yagami village, but also became unpopular with the women. The third chapter is set in the future, where Haruma's manga no longer sells and he is in a pitiful state and is convinced that he will die soon. He falls asleep and is then awakened by a man, who appears to be Osamu Tezuka. The man says he will give him one last chance. When he wakes, he must hold the first thing he picks up close to his heart. This will decide his future. Haruma wakes up and picks up a pen, the pen the captain gave him on the ship. At first, he refuses to keep it, but eventually something tells him he should listen to that voice. He leaves the house, taking the pen with him, but is continually pricked by its thorns. Meanwhile, a cop passes by and sees Haruma acting strangely, and from his appearance, he thinks he's a shady guy. The cop tells Haruma to follow him. Haruma gets angry with the pen and throws it away. The trajectory is perfect, and the pen was about to hit a man, but he turns and catches it. Haruma is frightened by the man and apologizes, believing it's the end for him. The man compliments him on the throw, saying he's a scout for the majors and a sports commentator, so he tells Haruma to join his baseball team. Some time passes and we see Haruma become an extremely good baseball player. There's another time skip and we see Haruma living in luxury, saying he have everything and that he wouldn't be here if it weren't for that pen. Haruma hears Tenma's voice and runs to her, dropping his cigar, completely setting the house on fire. Haruma is speechless and says that maybe it's best if he goes back to writing manga. As I said at the beginning of the video, these chapters can be canon or not, at our discretion. This chapter begins with Haruma refusing a balloon given to him by a man dressed as Santa Claus, saying he doesn't believe in these Christmas things. He has to buy Shuji a present, but he has no money. While walking, he kicks a can and hits a little girl, Tenma. When he falls, Tenma ruins the cake he made for Yakumo. Haruma apologizes, but Tenma says not to worry, because Yakumo hates Christmas and would have definitely rejected it. Haruma says he's in the same situation with his brother Shuji. In my opinion, this is one of the most touching chapters, because it brings back Yakumo's character when she was little. Haruma says she'll do anything to apologize. Tenma says that her sister Yakumo secretly writes a letter every year with her wishes, and she always writes the words mom and dad. Haruma returns home and asks Satoko if she can be a mother for a day, but she refuses and has to study for her final exams. Harima doesn't know any other girls, so she wants to at least find a father. At the Tsukamoto house, Tenma tries to make Yakumo happy by bringing back the Christmas spirit, but she only gets angry. There's a knock on the door and Tenma says he has a surprise for her. They open the door and there's Harima dressed as a father. No one expected this. Yakumo becomes furiously angry with Tenma, insulting her for destroying everything she touches and saying she shouldn't meddle in other people's business. Harima can't calm her down, so he slaps her, but realizes he's gone too far, and Tenma knocks him down. The two sisters start crying, but Harima tells them to follow him. He takes it upon himself and takes them to the school roof, where there's this wonderful scene of them looking out over the landscape, and Yakumo starts crying. The two sisters make peace. Itoko witnessed the scene but decides not to say anything, and the chapter ends with Harima saying goodbye to the Tsukamoto sisters to go to his brother Shuji. This chapter features a lot of familiar characters, and begins with two workers arranging a date, but they are interrupted by Nishimoto, who asks the girl to enter the entertainment world. Nishimoto is the boss and representative of the Genji Entertainment Producer Company, and he offers all the girls a chance to enter the entertainment world. He wants to become the Dawn of Yagami City. The elections to become the mayor of Yagami City are approaching, and, besides Nishimoto, among the candidates there is also Hanai. This could be a problem for him, so he tells Yoshidayama to do something. Meanwhile, Hanai returns home after giving a speech to get votes, and a pregnant Makoto is waiting for him, and she is sad because Hanai never has time to spend with her. Hanai receives a call from the campaign office and has to leave the house immediately. However, on the street, he encounters an old man who appears to need help. Two men arrive and the old man starts screaming for help because he says Hanai was beating him, so they insult him and take his picture. Everyone is starting to doubt Hanai, and this was all a plan by Nishimoto. Also, he is informed that the Sawachika Consortium is coming to Japan, and so he wants to use them to gain an advantage in the elections. Meanwhile, Eri continues to think about Harima, and when she returns home, Nishimoto is waiting for her. He tries to offer a large sum of money to gain support during the elections. Eri, furious, sends them away. Eri and Makoto talk to each other, and Makoto says she's happy with what Hanai has become, but she wishes he could spend more time with her. Eri says she'll do everything she can to make them pay, and we also see her phone wallpaper, which appears to be the cover photo of volume 22 of the manga. Eri says that to carry out the plan, she called T. The scene shifts to my wife Yakumo, who now works at Dankosha. Eri visits her at work and asks her to publish some photos. She also tells her that she received information about Harima from her fellow stewardess, saying that they saw him at Heathrow Airport last week. Yakumo is very happy with the news, but asks Eri why she told him, and she responds by saying that this is their fight for solitude. Then she leaves. Tudo, a journalist, is elated by the shocking news. The plan worked, and everyone tries to ask Yoshidayama, who doesn't understand what's happening, for explanations. Meanwhile, Nishimoto has been urgently hospitalized for his blood pressure. The chapter concludes by revealing that Akira was the one who took the photos and is the so-called T. Duchess Akira has changed the fate of Yagami City, and her next mission will be in Russia. But that's another story. The sixth chapter is set at Eri's house. Harima goes to visit her. While he was finishing inking his manga, he ran out of ink, so he came to ask Eri for help. She refuses because every time Harima comes to her house, it's always for money. He tries every way to convince her, and in the end, she agrees, but on one condition: they have to play shogi. If Harima wins, she'll give him what he wants. If Eri wins, he'll have to do what she says. Harima also references the arranged marriage part of the manga. As you can see, Harima is pretty confident he'll win, but ends up finding himself in difficulty. Eri says she used to take lessons from a very famous shogi master and that she has great talent for the game. Since she won, Eri tells Harima to return all 146,235 yen she lent him, but since Harima isn't able to do it at the moment, she can wait a little longer. She says that if they got married, she'd forget about her debt, but specifies that it's just an example, even if she's a little suspicious. Harima says he wants to leave so as not to cause any inconvenience, but she says he can't leave because Nakamura and Masaru are outside. Harima is panicking, but he believes there's still a chance to win. They continue to play and he's losing miserably. Then he asks Eri's permission to go to the bathroom. Here he thinks of escaping through the window, but finds himself with no way out, as you can see. Harima comes back to Eri and she says that she is tired of all this and thinks to herself that this time she won't let him escape. Harima says he needs to meet with Yakumo to talk about his manga, and Eri, jealous, tells him to have Yakumo come to her house so Harima can admit his defeat in front of her and he will do whatever Eri wants. The chapter ends with Yakumo arriving and pointing out to Eri that she made a move that goes against the rules, saving Harima. This chapter is pretty bizarre. It starts with a date between Tenma and Karasuma at the Tokyo Dome for Lala's concert. Before it starts, Napoleon arrives and warns Karasuma that there's a space monster nearby that confused with the structures. He tells Tenma that something unexpected happened and that he has to leave. Tenma is visibly sad and says that it's not a problem because there's still time to call Yakumo. Karasuma walks away, picks up a pen, and transforms. The monster has fused with the dome, but Lala begins the concert anyway. The audience experiences many strange sensations. Everyone thinks it's Lala's powerful voice, but in reality, it's Karasuma fighting the monster fused to the dome. The dome's roof opens, and only Yakumo notices Karasuma's giant face. Karasuma finishes off the monster. The spectators are transfixed and say that this is the rumble of our hearts. Maybe the school rumble is the friends we made along the way. The chapter ends with Karasuma having saved the earth, but no one has recognized his identity, and all the spectators are shocked by Lala's concert, even though this is also Karasuma's merit. This chapter starts with Karen and Imadori going on a date to the movies, but all the time he's trying to pick up other girls and so Karen starts to think he's not interested in her. Karen's brother Kosuke starts teasing her about her relationship with Imadori and then she gets a call from Sagano. Sagano gets angry with Karen because she can't move on with Imadori and says she deserves true love. Then she tells her that she and Yuki will arrange a date for them and that she must come. Karen goes to sleep thinking about her relationship with Imadori and cries. Sagano and Yuki go to Imadori and get angry with him for how he's treating Karen, but he says that it's all part of his plan and that he actually intends to give her a ring, so the two go to Karen and tell her to go to Yagami Shrine after school because Imadori is waiting for her. She arrives at the place and finds Imadori literally waiting for her in a ring. The girls, including Karen, don't take it well and start beating him. Karen runs away in tears, saying her feelings for Imadori are fading, but is stopped by Hanai, who says she deserves the belt for her victory. Suddenly, Imadori gives her an engagement ring and Karen, without thinking, accepts. The 9th chapter begins with Yakumo going to visit Tenma in the United States. In the car, with Tenma driving, Yakumo is very happy to see how much she has grown and there is a monologue where she expresses her love for her. Yakumo also finds living with Sarah and Harima quite comfortable. Tenma asks Yakumo how things are going with Harima, saying that she knows she is in love with him, and Yakumo gets embarrassed because Tenma starts teasing her. Yakumo thinks to herself that Harima is still in love with Tenma. He is so stubborn that not even God could make him give up and only an invincible love would be able to destroy the walls of his heart, thinking about Eri. They arrive at the hospital to visit Karasuma, and Yakumo notices that Tenma knows many people in the hospital. They arrive in his room, and Tenma says he's slowly starting to regain memories of Class 2C, and sooner or later he'll remember his classmates too. Karasuma has a sketchbook with him. Drawing helps him relax, but he's forgotten how to draw characters. He doesn't even remember his manga characters. Tenma draws a frog on Karasuma's shirt and he remembers the curry Tenma made that he ate from the broken plate, saying it was the most delicious food in the world. Tenma says he's talking about herself, but Karasuma is hesitant, so Tenma cries with rage. Yakumo says that seeing these two doesn't even seem like Karasuma is under medical treatment. Crying, getting mad, and laughing, that's the Tenma medicine. And here is the 10th and final chapter of School Rumble Z, in my opinion, one of the most emotional chapters of all School Rumble. This is the graduation ceremony chapter, and we see interactions between characters like Yakumo, Sarah, Harima, Eri, Makoto, Akira, Hanai, Miki, Haruna, Aso, Suga, Sagano, Yuki, Karen, Imadori, Lala, and many more. Max is shown, who apparently is a Harima 2.0, in fact as much as he loves Eri he decided to leave her in Harima's hands for her own good, just like Harima did when he left Tenma in Karasuma's hands. And amazing, a scene showing Harima and Eri with their son, together with Tenma, Yakumo, and Karasuma. The ceremony begins, and the teachers are also shown. Hanai calls Yakumo to give a speech. She begins by expressing her gratitude to all her friends, the characters we know so well. Yakumo begins to have a bit of difficulty speaking, and we're shown this simply wonderful panel. She begins to cry and apologizes to everyone because she can't read anymore. Tenma arrives to save the day, taking the microphone. Harima tells a sick Karasuma that this is the woman they both fell in love with, the girl who started it all. I just can't. I hope you enjoyed the video.